Pode fazer um zoom.
Oh,
para apertar aqui.
much better. Thank you. Perfect. Yes?
Okay with it.
It's much better, but you have to turn on a light in the table, but you need that's better. If you can be that set up, we can see you perfect right now with that light. Ahora deberían empezar a entrar. Bueno, este no ahora. Pues es que por eso te decía lo de cambiarse de nosotros. Porque ya lo sé, pero el correo está enviado. Y es que lo que pasa es que el PNG no lo pide. Así me lo piden PNG. Entonces yo no tengo una URL, en la base de datos no tengo el nombre con el JPG, tengo solo una ruta que luego la plataforma transforma. Pero podemos poner el mismo PNG sin transparencia. Si me lo fabrica, sí. Sí.
¿Ya se ve esa, Miguel?
No lo sé.
Sí, la tiene.
Es que se la tiene otro PC ahí dentro.
Pero la
es para el streaming de YouTube.
Sí que llega bien el streaming, además. ¿Llega bien? Vale. Sí.
4G.
¿Con 4G?
Sí.
Porque la
red
de...
Aquí no hay manera. Conectado, o sea, pero es el router igual, pero conectado al 4G. En vez de tirar por cable y así nos hace igual todo. VPN y todo eso.
Sí, hola. Sí, hola. Sí. Sí, hola.
Hola. El 2 está un poco bajo, a ver. Que lo he probado y me ha contestado.
¿Aldo se ha cambiado al final o qué? ¿Está de vacaciones o qué? ¿Tú que somos ignoras como secretaria? Sí, es verdad, ya no se sabe. Tú eres la jefa. O sea, a partir de ahí empezamos a... Esto es todo... operación de esto.
Sí.
Esto no hay que tocarlo, pero tenemos que sentarse aquí.
Sí.
Y pues empieza hablando de... A las 5, esto de aquí, o 8. Empieza hablando Guillermo Cicero. Sería encontrar... Esto para moverlo se mueve así con facilidad. Hay que tener cuidado que esto no se desconecte, claro. Y la cámara se puede ver ahí o aquí.
issue. Hello, that's Bernard speaking from Brussels. What about the echo now?
At least from Murcia, I can hear you perfectly.
Thanks a lot. Não havia tanto tempo isso.
Então falo.
Olá!
Sim. Como é que...
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello all. How are you?
Fine, fine, fine. It's nice to see you again.
Okay, nice to see you too. We are waiting for the people to come. It's a little bit too early, but thank you very much for connecting in advance. And we will start in 10 minutes or 15. You know all how to work and how to use the push to talk. Bernhard, do you know how to use the push to talk?
Yeah, I know how to operate it, but you're coming with a huge delay.
Okay, very good. Hi, Vicente, from Valencia. You have raised the hand.
Hola, 1, 2, probando, probando.
Hola, hola, ¿se nos escucha?
Hello, Valencia.
Oye, guapo, una cosa.
UPV.
No
Can you
has traído
please
todavía las botellas, ¿no? Es
turn
que veo aquí
your
unas botellas de plástico.
camera on?
Vale,
¿Puedes
genial.
encender
No,
vuestra
perfecto.
cámara
Es
en
que de
Valencia?
repente veo aquí unas botellas de plástico, digo, esto no es. Vale. Claro, claro. Pues, bueno, pues ya está.
Hola. Hola, desde Ecuador, ¿me pueden escuchar?
Hello, Ubuntunet. There is too much light on your side. Maybe you can turn some lights off just to check the result.
Okay, receiving.
No, yo creo que es peor así. Uf. O sea, así no se le ve.
Hola, buen día, ¿me pueden oír? Hello, everybody.
Ecuador, yo te escucho aquí desde Murcia. No sé si te escuchan en la sala.
No me responden desde Ecuador.
Pero me imagino que porque están ahí ligados ahora mismo. O sea, pero vamos, si te escucho yo, te tienen que escuchar ellos, digo yo.
Me imagino. Sí, esperemos entonces. Qué bueno que me escuchan.
Tres solamente, tres. Sí. ¿Este? ¿Allí? Félix. Gracias, guapa. Félix, ya nos falta una. Esas otras me las dejas ahí para luego cambiar para la clausura, ¿sabes? Eso es. Pero me dejas abiertas y las voy a meter aquí para que no me las quite nadie ahí.
Ah, sí, hemos ido a...
No, pero hombres de poca fe.
Hola, Kim. Buenas tardes. ¿Se me oye? Buenas tardes desde Valencia.
Ahora sí se te escucha.
Vale. Vale, gracias. He sido a base de tocar muchas teclas. Gracias.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon from Madrid. Good evening, somewhere through the world, and good morning or good night, I don't know, because very many sites are connected now. So thanks everybody for being in this session. This is a celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Isabel project. Here at the Superior School for Telecommunication Engineers of Universidad Politécnica de Madrid. So first of all, I hand over to the director of the school, is Professor Pérez Martínez. Félix.
Thank you, Rector. Good afternoon. Rector of the UPM, Rector of Universidade de Aveiro, Director of Technology and Architecture in Telefónica, former Director PT in Novação, Aveiro, company representatives, teachers, and engineering students attending this 25th Isabel anniversary. I'd like to start by welcoming you to this Telecommunication Engineering School of the Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, and to thank you for attending this celebration that commemorates the first Isabel event. Greetings also to people who are following this event from the different connected sites. As is indicated in the program, Isabel is a platform that, after 2 decades of creating collaboration, services and events, has allowed the generation of new and more complex platforms that are being used worldwide by many companies and spin-off to implement collaborative services with real-time voice and video. Projects like this have contributed to establish our school as one of the national and international references in information and communication technologies. A school that is a leading center in scientific production and technology transfer, whose graduates has been and always will be considered in Spain as main experts in the field. You are in a school that is well aware of the importance of promoting R&D activity and the internationalization of universities. A school that has been supporting these activities for a long time and that will to do so in the future. And Isabel is a wonderful example of this. In addition, for many years, this school has valued the importance of activity in the setting of data engineering, especially in what is known in Spanish as telemática. In fact, our school is pioneer in the teaching of this field in Spain, and actually some of the first emails that were ever sent in Spain were sent from this school. In the 1970s, we introduced the first courses, what is now known as data engineering, in the curriculum of telecommunication engineering. In fact, Isabel, this amazing project that we are celebrating today, is a great example of the success of these activities. At this point, please let me thank Professor Quemada and his team for their excellent work during these years, and of course, for organizing this event. I hope you enjoy it very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Felix. And now we hand over to Juan Carlos García López. He's the Director of Technology and SVP Technology and Architecture in Telefónica. Please.
Thank you. Well, I'm Juan Carlos García. I am a telecom engineer and graduated in this school 30 years ago, so a long time ago. I spent my last 2 years in the university with a scholarship in the telematics engineering department, specialized in databases and logical programming languages. So I know what is the university and the research here. I joined Telefónica Research and Development in 1990, working in software engineering, developing and testing in different departments, packet switching, IP, broadband, multimedia, advanced service architectures. And that was at the time that Isabel was, progressing, and these kind of events that we are celebrating today were taking place. From that moment on, I moved to different positions in the Telefónica Group, in Latin America, in Europe, Italy and Germany, and finally in the Global Technology Unit. This is where I'm working at this moment, taking care of the technology and architecture for network and systems for the whole group. I think all this trajectory has given me a good view on how technology and business has evolved and how research and development has changed the telco landscape in the last years. My background and experience as telecom engineer is giving me a perspective of the relevance that projects like Isabel has had in the evolution of telecommunication services. Isabel, with events like the one we are celebrating today, ABC 95, brought a significant progress to the telecommunication business and to the society in general. The application of fiber optics technologies made available a bandwidth at that time that was unprecedented, creating what we call broadband. This new broadband network, together with the development of a specialized software for handling multimedia contents, real-time video, high-quality audio communications, document sharing, has enabled a bunch of new services that at the time were announcing the reality of what we are living today. Okay? A massive adoption of person-to-person and person-to-audience, online communications, video streaming, knowledge sharing, etc. Now we live a really great moment, no? With unlimited resources for developers to design solutions, great software libraries, open source code, software development kits, a number of development communities. So really a fascinating moment today. 25 years ago, projects like Isabel were the catalyst of development and were helping to create this kind of environments and facilitating the development of things like the services that they were showing. No? Isabel unveiled the power of fiber transmission of the advanced microelectronics and broadband to new telecommunication services that we enjoy today massively. It brought new characteristics to the telecommunications like distributed architectures, interactivity, multimedia applications that are now something very common in whatever the telco operators are selling. No? At that time, it was a moment of increasing the connection of PCs to the networks. There were new opportunities for online collaboration, and I think Isabel captured that moment very well, creating that specialized software, adding a distributed high-performance computing architecture, and connecting all that to a broadband network. With this combination, it was possible to deliver these international multimedia communications and collaboration tools. Something that we see today as a basic feature in our smartphones, that is the online communication with other persons remotely, was a great breakthrough 25 years ago. Well, this computer-supported cooperative work was at that time a design and development phase, okay? But now it's a commonplace for most of the people that do anything on online communications, no, in the internet. When one reads the characteristics of this computer-supported cooperative work, one may think about Skype, Zoom, BlueJeans, Team, and other common tools that we are using today. So we were looking at something that was going to be, many years later, something common and basic for our lives. No? Well, and it was interesting to see that the internet connection at that time was considered narrowband and was something promising. Okay, and what we can see now what is the internet. No, that promise at that time was become a reality and a commonplace for all of us. No? I'm very happy to have lived all this experience both in the Polytechnical University of Madrid and in Telefónica. I think these two entities have collaborated for a long time on projects like this that have made a great progress and contributed quite a lot to the telco business development. We are also happy to see that this relationship is getting reinforced in the last years, and also we have plenty of interesting new activities to move forward. No? We have now to develop things on 5G, on edge computing, on artificial intelligence, so we have a number of areas still for research and development that are very interesting. I'm very happy to celebrate now this important project, and I hope in 25 years we are celebrating some other projects as well, no? And very interesting ones. This one, I think, was a great breakthrough, and I hope we have another significant ones very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Juan Carlos. So now a few words on my side. Well, first of all, I would like to say that I'm very pleased to be here in this celebration of this 25th anniversary of the Isabel project, because it's extremely meaningful in the history of this school as well as in the history of the university, of our university, but as well as important in the history of very many places throughout Europe and throughout the world, because this was conceived in the context of European projects. So this experience was born in 1993. This school, and at that point in time, the team was conducted by Professor Quemada, dear Juan. He's here at the first row. I'm telling this for other people who is looking at us at this moment. In the project, there were other professors, as for instance Professor Azcorra, Professor Pavón, Professor Salvachua, Professor Larrabeiti, or Manuel Petit. Some of them are here, and as well I would like to mention especially other professor that was present at that point in time and is present as well in our memory today. It's Professor Tomás de Miguel. I would like to thank all of you, and especially to him, because this was possible due to these people working in a team as a whole person, as one only person. Well, at that point in time was 1994, 1993. Internet and the web were just I'm sorry. The director of the school is telling me that there are 2 interventions that are, yes, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry because I was looking at the paper, so I will come back again. I'm very sorry because the rector of the University of Aveiro in Portugal, Professor Ferreira, and the former director of Portugal Telecom in Novação are looking at us, and they are willing to speak, and so I'm very sorry because I have advanced my intervention. So please, Professor Ferreira, and I will come back again. Professor Ferreira, it's your turn, sorry.
Thank you. It's not Professor Ferreira yet. It's me, João Barros from Altis Labs, former PT Innovation. First of all, I would like to salute all the participants in this event that celebrates the 35th anniversary of the first large-scale field test of Isabel application. I'm talking about the second summer school, ABC 94, the second summer school on advanced broadband communications. Actually, today I'm here representing our general manager of Altis Labs, Altino Labrador, who couldn't be present today due to agenda imperatives. But at that time, 25 years ago, I was in fact part of a group of young engineers, was involved together with many others. Some of them are here today, here and there in Madrid today, in the development of complex and innovative solutions. At that time, we called them advanced solutions that became important references in our professional lives, in fact. I'm talking about projects like Isabel, EBER, Brain, Binet, and so many others. Isabel project and the summer schools is supported, and other distributed events along the years gave a remarkable contribution to a large-scale dissemination of research results by providing an Europe-wide interactive auditorium to the European-funded R&D projects. At that time, Isabel application gave a new meaning and a new dimension to the expression collaborative event. But if there were still any doubts about the importance of what we are celebrating today, it should be sufficient to look at the size of our audience. Several countries, several continents, and many young people from today and from 25 years ago, of course. Celebrating innovation and cooperation towards a common goal that is our future. From my side, I don't have anything more, perhaps I am and some other projects we have developed together with the University of Aveiro and University of Madrid, and also Telefónica I+D, together with them, and how these projects and these events have contributed to enrich the history of a 69 years institution like Altis Labs. And if you allow me, now I will pass the floor to my colleague Vasco Lagarto, who was in fact the leader of that group of young engineers. We are still young, in fact, but at that time we are younger. On the Portuguese side, we helped to trace the route from Aveiro to Madrid, to Basel, and to many other places that Isabel project has reached. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So after what you have said, I guess that Professor Ferreira is not available.
No, yes. I'm right here. Yes, I'm available. He is available, but before I pass the word or the floor to Professor Paulo Jorge Ferreira, the actual rector of the university, I'd like to mention some things. My name is Vasco Lagarto. I was involved in the beginning, and I just would like to stress that what we are celebrating today is the result of a challenge made by a person from the Commission when we were dealing with a project called Brain. At that time, due to some constraints, we proposed, in fact, to start to create distributed conferences. And that's why all this had started. I don't want to take too much time. Probably later on we can speak a little bit about some some histories or some stories. Some stories, because in fact I think that this collaboration gave or left a mark in the telecommunication history of these at least two countries and probably in the world. Now I pass the word to Professor Paulo Freire, the actual rector of the university.
Okay, thank you. So by now, most people would think that there are at least 3 rectors in Aveiro, but it's not true. I would like to say hello to everybody here. I understand I'm talking to Switzerland and Uruguay and Spain and Portugal and elsewhere, so I won't say good morning or good afternoon. I will use those words that every electrical engineering student uses in their first programs. Hello world. I think it's more convenient here. I won't take you too long. I just want to say that we are here after 25 years celebrating an important event that connected people. And I think it's very important to connect people and to look forward to a common virtual space in which we can all collaborate and work together. 20 years ago, or 5 years after Isabel, there was the Bologna event. The Bologna Declaration was signed, it made 20 years in June 19th. And it was another event in which people were looking forward at communication, collaboration, in this case in the European space. And a few weeks ago, the results of the first European universities became known. So that was a third event in this attempt to connect more people throughout the world, throughout Europe. And I think that telecommunications and Isabel were forerunners in all these movements, an effort to connect more people together, to draw people to these events and to extract more value from their skills. And so I was maybe too young then to participate, but I want to say thank you to those who participated and wrote and made this possible. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Rector, and thank you very much to these people from Portugal Telecom Inovação. Thank you, Vasco. It has been a long time since we met last time. And I was going to break the protocol because I have seen to Mario Campolargo just by the 12-star flag, but I guess he has gone out from the room. Is it?
Yes, he just went out. He's coming back.
Coming back in a couple of minutes or in 30 seconds or 15 seconds? To say some words for starting.
Don't know directly.
So, thank you. Really, his speech is foreseen for 16 hours, but as far as I have seen him in the room, I was going to break the protocol for this starting point of the event. Well, now I take again my words. So I was saying that at that point in time, 1993, internet and the web were being born at that point in time, and as well as the director of the school, I said the first email was sent from here. Really, this was a pioneering experience concerning what the future was coming, and it was a reality because due to the effort of very many people from this school and from other parts of the world, mainly in the context of European projects. Because, well, the different projects have been mentioned by Juan Carlos. The context was that very many people were working in a team to achieve results. So really the important thing was that there was an ecosystem of production around the new technologies, then the new technologies. When this happened, somebody was speaking about the possibility of transmission ATM 10 megabits per second, things like that, but really it was surprising that a conference at 128 megabits per second, and even some places at 2 megabits per second was a reality. And now what is so useful for us is to see the communication like this with a lot of screens. Really, it was something extremely new in the 90s. People working in projects together, instead of sending faxes or instead of having presential meetings, the possibility of holding meetings on the network. That was possible due to the Isabel project. So this is a project of projects. It was collecting initiatives of different projects to make a reality, and being a commodity for other projects as well. So there was research on new technologies, and as well this was a commodity for other projects. So it's really what happens now with the ICTs in our present. So it's extremely important to be here celebrating 25 years of pioneering experience of very many people together, and lead it from this school with people of this school, and as well together with private companies. This is a sample of Telefónica that was always there in this technology leading experiences. So it was engineering at the highest international level. So thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for creating knowledge at that point in time, and still creating knowledge every day with international partners. Thanks to the school for supporting every day new ideas, new knowledge generation in the field of ICTs. And thanks to all people who made a reality this in 1993. It's people from different parts of the world. Many of them are in this on the screen here. And thank you especially to the people of the Department of Telematics Engineering of our university in this school. Professor Quemada was the leader at that point in time. I have mentioned other professors, and I would like to stress again the mention to Professor Tomás de Miguel, who was part of the experience and very active participant in this experiment and in all our lives later. Thanks again, and thanks as well to all administration personnel who has made this possible during these 25 years, and as well during this event today here in the afternoon here in Madrid, night or morning or what's the time in other parts of the world. And thanks always to the students that were students 25 years ago, and they became faculty. Some of them, they went to the enterprises. You said, Juan Carlos, 30 years ago. Well, it's not so long time. It was really yesterday, we can say. So thank you, because you have been building with university, private companies with university. You are building knowledge every day. So thank everybody, because this builds always ICTs, builds technology, builds universities, in particular is building every day this Superior School for Telecommunication Engineering as well, Universidad Politécnica de Madrid. So thank you everybody, and the event of the 25th anniversary of Isabel project is officially open. Thank you very much. Before leaving the table, let me come back to the breaking of the protocol. So Mr. Campolargo is again in the room. So Mario, would you like to say some words? Because we have seen very many times in the past, and it's a long time ago that we don't meet in Brussels personally. So Mario, would you like to say something before your speech at 16 hours?
You have to press.
Yeah, so Eugen, it was a pleasure to see you, and thanks for giving me the floor. And I've seen already so many familiar faces that it's like going back in time and finding the friends with whom you spend so long hours, so many innovative ideas. And I'm sure that everything that could have at the time looked like a dream, and
I think there are some problems with the sound.
Is that okay?
It's okay.
We kept pressing, but maybe something happened here because another call came into this multi-dimensional platform that we have now in front of us. But I was saying that although this may look a gathering of old faces, of people with whom we spend long hours, we share the visions and knowledge and commitment. I think that it is very interesting to see how that pioneering tool, in fact, paved the way for so many tools, and now we today interpret, and we almost feel that for granted we can talk to each other wherever we are in the world. But 25 years ago was not like this. And to the pioneers of Isabel, I mean, a big thanks from Brussels. And I'm so happy that I'm here with the 3 other colleagues that shared at the time the same dreams and work close with you. So each one of us will have a short message at a later stage, but for the time being from Brussels, a big thanks to have thought that we should be sharing also those moments of celebration with all of you. And we are so happy to see so many faces that we have, with whom we have worked in the past. Thanks very much.
Mario, thank you very much, and by the way, congratulations for your position at the European Commission. You know that these days the presidency of the European Commission is vacant, so perhaps it's the moment for an engineer to be there, and you can try somehow.
Well, I wouldn't compare. I wouldn't compare, but I want to share with you, maybe some of you don't know, that the current Secretary General of the United Nations is a distinguished engineer.
Well, thank you very much indeed. So the event of the 25th anniversary is officially open. Thank you, everybody.
Well, good morning to America, good afternoon to Europe and Africa, and thank you to all who are participating in this anniversary event. I'm very happy to see you all again, all our friends from so many years ago, and I will make just a short overview of how we have seen from the inside of the Isabel development team what the evolution has been. Next slide, please. Well, the beginnings, as many people here have pointed out, were in the Isabel and Iber projects, where we worked together very closely with Telefónica, with Portugal Telecom, and with the University of Aveiro, to support the summer schools which were organized by the BRAIN projects. Vasco has explained how this all came out, and it's really a nice story. It's really a nice story because we were in the times of RACE and ACTS, which created a very, very challenging innovation system in which we were faced to big challenges, like, for example, distributing over the first broadband infrastructures events of a very high complexity. So we had to collaborate with many people trying to solve quite difficult challenges, and this has paid off. Next slide, please. The ABC, the summer school started in '93, but Isabel was only ready in '94 to make the first distribution of the second summer school. It was an event which was very difficult to keep on, I must confess. It was we had four sites, 4 auditoriums connected. We had the University of Aveiro, which was the main site of the summer school, also one auditorium in Portugal Telecom, an auditorium here at UPM, one in Telefonica, and the Basel testbed, coordinated by Martin Potts and by other people who are here also, set up also a connection and an auditorium in somewhere in Switzerland. I must confess, I don't know exactly where. We were so excited with the results, all of us, that we decided to go for more in the next years, and pressed, I think, by Michel Roy, who was the project officer, who wanted the brain to do always more. He was a very pressing project officer. We increased the number of sites from year to year. In '95, we had 10 sites, or over 10 sites, depending how you count. And in '96, in the last summer school, which was the 4th, we had around 20 sites, or even a little bit over. Since then, we did many global events, starting in '96, and many hundreds of events in many different areas and parts of the world, and in different activities have been performed. At this point, I would like to make a mention, and to mention some of the key members of these activities, which have already been mentioned by our rector, which have unfortunately passed away. The first one, you can see him in the picture here, is Steven Plageman, who is standing there on the one edge of the slide. He was one of the main driving forces of the summer school. You can see also a picture with the initial Isabel team. That is Tomás de Miguel, somewhere in the middle. He has unfortunately left us also. And I would like also to mention Pedro Lizcano from Telefonica, who was another of the key members, and he passed away also, unfortunately. So we would like to thank them. I would like to thank them all for everything they did. Pardon. Next slide, please. Well, here I have a photograph of these big events, of one of the big events, one we did 10 years after the first one. It was, we call it also the Isabel 10th anniversary. We have here some captures of different instances of the event, and also of the connections we made, all the sites. Events were huge. There were some events where we connected the complete globe. We call them Global 360, from Asia, even Australia and New Zealand to America. It was very difficult to organize because people had to participate during the night, and it was really a nightmare. But well, we did it as demonstration, and I must say that they were events which really were marking a tendency which now is each time more frequent, because the world is now completely connected. In this time, we were in the transition to IPv6. Isabel was one of the first complex application which was ported to IPv6, and so it played a role there, because the first IPv6 summits were also distributed with Isabel over the first IPv6 infrastructure. Isabel has been always at the edge in many of the new technologies being introduced, and here we were demonstrating also in this 10th anniversary event, which was at the turn of the millennium, basically also that IPv6 was starting to be ready. And in one of these summits, which was a little bit before this event, I think, even Steve Deering gave his last talk over Isabel and IPv6 from California to the IPv6, one of the IPv6 summits in Madrid. Next slide, please. Well, with Isabel, we experimented. It was a CSCW application, a computer-supported collaborative work application. We experimented with many different ways of supporting services. We had the teleconference for this large event, where a centralized operation was made, because this was like TV production. But we also created a distributed classroom service, which was more or less ready in 1996. And we did lots of courses in the Bonaparte projects. They were the first one, but then we had the EBAC course with Spanish universities in Barcelona, in Valencia, and in Madrid, in Carlos III, with Murcia. The Spanish Association of Telecommunication Engineers also did many courses and many more. Isabel has been much used in educational innovation, because we did very interesting experiments, and the continuations of Isabel are also now focusing quite a lot, as I will explain briefly after, in these innovation activities. We also use the standard telework for meeting rooms. So they were used in the projects. We ported to IPv6. But Isabel was very costly to be deployed, because the platforms, they needed very costly workstations or very high-end PCs, which had to be installed, and we needed a different framework. So Isabel, after 20 years of service, slowly died. In the middle, around the year 2000, also a startup was made from UPM to try to commercialize it. But unfortunately, it was a business model which didn't work. So around 2010, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Around 2010, we started the transformation of Isabel. Here you have a picture of the networks we used in Isabel. The basic component, or the main component, which allowed us to create these extremely large events, where we could connect nearly to any network using any communication technology, was the flow server. The Isabel flow server was an MCU which could adapt the quality of service and connect to any communication technology. It could connect to multicast or to unicast, to satellites, to ISDN, and using it, we could do all this we did. This needed a lot of people behind configuring and doing the layout and the deployment, and this was why it was so costly. So around 2010, well, a little bit before, we started to find a platform, or to transform Isabel into something which could be much more easily deployed. So we started first with Flash, and then when WebRTC appeared, we decided to go for WebRTC. And then we evolved this MCU concept we had to something which could work in the web platform. Next slide, please. And so in the year 2012, we had the first commits in GitHub of a project which is Linkia. It was called first Linkia, and then it was renamed to Lycode due to some problems with the trademarks, which has been very successful. It was the first WebRTC MCU. It was a completely new development, but it was very early ready due to the experience we gained in the Isabel project, and so many people started using it. Now the project in GitHub has around 800 forks, which is a lot. This means that 800 people have copied the repository and are working with it to do something. and around 2,000 stars, which is that 2,000 developers are following it. No, please go back. Also, this MCU has been very popular in startups all around the world. One of the startups which appeared very early was MashMe TV and Sync RTC. It's a startup, a spin-off here from UPM. And I would like to thank them now because this application is the application they have developed and they are delivering and selling now. It's a very powerful application. It's not the same as Isabel. This is a room, basically a blended room, what they call a blended room of the future, where people can sit in the classroom and people can connect over the internet in a very, very integrated way. You have a very seamless transitions from the local activities to the remote activities. We are using here in a non-standard way, I would like to say, which is for making something like the old Isabel events, and it works very well. I took the challenge of trying to organize an event like the old ones, like the old global Isabel events with it, when I started this, and we have succeeded to create more or less a platform of the size we created with all the people participating and interacting here. Another spin-offs in different parts of the world also use this MCU. For example, Minerva Schools at KGI in California, which will be also very shortly presented here, like MashMe TV, is using it with a very innovative learning methodology based also on video conferencing, and other spin-offs like Noodles or Uber Conference, also in California, and many more are using it. I would like to mention that we use our experience in Isabel also to create around 2012 or 2013 also a mock recording studio, which is very cheap and effective for high quality recording of the video pills you need in the MOOCs, which is being extremely successful and extremely effective for us to create very intensive MOOCs. But this is just an anecdote because it's not related to video conferencing. Next slide, please. Well, here you have basically the two models which will be presented here of the evolutions of Isabel, the MashMe TV concept of the room of the future. Here you have on the top of this slide the room of the future with a big bank in Spain, the Bank of Santander, has set up for their learning and also collaborative activities within the company, which much larger than this one for hundreds of people. They can connect up to 150, I think, persons. And in the bottom, you have the room of the Minerva Schools at KGI in California, which is a very, very interesting concept of global university. Well, and with this I finish this short intervention. I just wanted to show that it has been, we have had 25 years of very hard work and something has come out. I wanted to send this message to all the people who collaborated with us. And I would like to thank all the participants and all the participants which are being seen here, but also the technicians behind. It's a very hard work. One of the technicians here in Madrid is Isabel, who is the main sufferer of what we do, because he is in all the tests and in everything. So I would like to thank him especially. And also I would like to thank MashMe, because MashMe has been our sponsor, which has devoted a very, very large amount of work, and without them, this event would not have been possible. In fact, just as an anecdote, half an hour or 3/4 of an hour before the event started, half of the internet worldwide has broken down and no connectivity existed. I mean, Vasco called me from Portugal very nervous saying, okay, we can't connect, what is happening? And I discovered that it was not our fault, it was the fault of some provider somewhere in the world, which had broken down the internet by some very big failure, but it recovered quickly, and the MashMe people recovered the platform very, very quickly, and we can have the event as you are seeing now. Well, so thank you very much, and to all for accepting to participate in this challenge, which has been to organize an event like the ones we organized in those days with today's technology. Thank you very much to all. Well, if you have questions, just push questions. I mean, you can raise the hands, or you can just push to talk and just speaking when we are silent. So we would like that this event is interactive. This is why I invited every of the participants to make a short welcome or message, or to give a short message to the rest of the participants. My idea is following the order which is in the program, in the wage page of the event. And so I would like to start calling the sites to send this welcome message to all of the rest, but also to call the rest of the people if they would like to ask something participant or say something special to one of the participants, just to intervene after. You can raise the hand to let us know that you will do it, or just after he finishes, just send your message. So the first one here is in Brussels, is Rinaldo Pedrazzini. We have worked with him in many projects and in many places. So please, Rinaldo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Juan. I'm pleased to be here. Personally speaking, I still remember I was involved in many of the early events, the summer schools. I have very fond memories of that. And I have to say that usually when you talk about a lady 25 years later, you would say she aged gracefully, but is Can you hear me?
Yes, now.
I hope you didn't miss much. I said that Isabel has not just aged gracefully, she has grown gracefully. And it's a remarkable example, I think, of longevity in a field that changes all the time, like the field of software. So I'll keep it short because I see that the list of people is very long, but I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you very much, Rinaldo. Let's go now to our next site. We will go very far into the south, to Malawi, where UbuntuNet Alliance has set up a site, and Dr. Matthews Mutumbuka and Margaret Nwira and maybe others would like to say something. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Thank you very much. As UbuntuNet Alliance, we're very proud to have been part of the pioneers for this cloud-based and web conferencing through Isabel. And we're very proud to be part of Isabel history and the definition of the future on online collaboration. But I'm only 3 months old into this. And so I'm pleased to ask Margaret Nwira, who was the founding head of UbuntuNet Alliance and was there when Isabel was active, to say a few words and to share some memories.
Thank you very much, Matthew.
Margaret?
It's a pleasure to be here. UbuntuNet came to the global, I think perhaps that was the phase 2 of global, and a very exciting time for us. It's also a delight to be here in the presence of Mario Campalargo, because that big map at the very beginning of the UbuntuNet possibilities, I could see he and some of the other people here are among the midwives. Global project and Isabel functionality was this. It was UbuntuNet's first FP7 project, the EU FP7, and this was a very exciting time. And Tiwangi Banda and I had this trepidation about such a big thing, but we were so well received, and it gave us the opportunity to bring local regional speakers into global events. Juan, Abel, the group there were extremely kind to us. We had a good reception in Spain, in Austria, and we also had the opportunity for our regional scientists to participate in global events. One of the, I don't think you'll see it very well here, but this is from TNC 2008, where we were able, in Kamuzu College of Nursing, we were part of the global audience. And although we were not interactive, well, we were interactive, we could speak, but you couldn't see us moving. But nevertheless, we were able to ask the first question at the big plenary session and really bring the African audience to a global audience, and that was important to us. Other occasions, we've also had that platform. So we're growing as UbuntuNet Alliance to be a significant regional REN, growing strong partly because of the roots in the EUFP7 and Horizon 2020, and of course Africa Connect, and Global was there right at the beginning. So we say thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you to you. Well, and now we come back to Europe, and we will go first to Aveiro again, because we had planned to have Katrin Strower from GIANT, but she had a family problem, she told me, and she could not participate at the end, some unexpected thing. So let's go to Aveiro, if they would like. Yes, we have collaborated so much with them, and we should collaborate with them more in the future, probably. I see you there, Vasco. Would you like to say something more, or Rui Aguiar, or somebody else of our old friends who are there?
Okay, hello again to everybody. Rui Aguiar is not available at this moment. I think he's here in the Brussels airport. He sent a video, and I asked already through the message if we should send the video for you to pass it later on or not. But I would like to add something, because I think this a global platform, the aim of being a global platform is already, I think, in the name of the project. I don't know if everybody knows, but the Isabel project started as the name came from Isabel the Catholic, because in 1992, it was the 500th anniversary of the discovery of America from Cristobal Colombo. And in fact, it was at that time that we prepared the project together with Telefonica I+D. And Isabel is a kind of, of a tribute to the queen that sent Cristobal Colombo to discover the New World, and maybe the global orientation of the two comes from there. Isabel means infrastructure to support advanced broadband elements and laboratories. That's the meaning of the project. And maybe later on we can continue to talk.
Okay, thank you, Vasco. Well, let's go then to the next side. The turn is now with Martin Potts. He's now retired nicely in the Algarve. He seems very brown and healthy there. So please, Martin, but we had to have you even from your home in this event.
Okay, thank you, Juan, and hello to everybody. Yeah, I mean, it's great that even though I'm now retired, I can participate in the conference from home and see many old friends again. We work together a lot with Portugal Telecom, with UPM, University of Aveiro, and we've been involved with Isabel and the summer schools really right since the beginning. At the time, I was working with a small group of people from the Swiss telecom manufacturer Ascom, and also with the Swiss PTT, and we had a great testbed facility in a very modern Swisscom building in Basel. And I think this was the reason why we were invited, because we had excellent connectivity links. We even did some experiments using satellite connectivity as well. But I still remember, even though we had great connectivity, I think we were struggling to get bandwidth at any sort of reasonable price. And we had to ask the presenters not to move around very much, not to wear colorful clothing, so we could really minimize on the bandwidth that was being used. But from those early beginnings, we can now see what the result has been, and it's really been an excellent achievement. And I've been very honoured and proud to have been there since the beginning of all these developments. And
the microphone, please. Push to talk.
It was a great experience for me in my work in European projects, and yeah, it was a great foundation for the work which continued on video conferencing applications, on measurements of quality of service, on IPv6. These platforms were always used in many projects. We worked on virtual classrooms with Canada, and yeah, it was a very interesting and exciting time. It has been the basis of my career, and I've been very happy to be part of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Martin. Well, then we go now to another site in Europe, in Slovenia, to the Josef Stefan Institute, where I see also our old friends. I think that Borka, Dusan, and Tomasz are there. The turn is yours. Would you like to intervene, Ljubljana? Well, you seem to be frozen. Okay, we don't hear you. Your site seems to be frozen. You should reload your page. So let's do the following. Just reload the page, and we will go to the next site and then back to you. The next site is also my old friend in Paris. It's Catherine Mayet, who is there with Jehan Prokasia. Catherine, are you hearing us? Oh, Catherine, we see you 2 times now. I don't know what are you doing. No, aquí hay. Catherine, you have to push the button. Catherine, the push to talk. I'm sorry, it's... Catherine, I think you are connected 2 times.
Okay, can you hear me? We're turning off the other microphone.
Okay. Catherine, try to reload. Yeah. Yes, please. Now.
It's okay. I just wanted to say I kind of came in to the Isabel project a little bit later in the 21st century, not in the 20th century.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, sorry about that. Yeah, you are connected in 2 different tabs because we mistakenly sent you another credential. So you have 2 tabs open and you are in 2 spaces. This is why we can hear you double. So if you can cut one of those, that will be wonderful. If you don't mind, try to find which one is open twice, and we will get back to you. So Juani, we can get to the next participant, and after that we will go back to Catherine once we have solved this. Catherine, we will stay in touch with you. Sorry about that.
Well, sorry, this is one of the problems. Well, this is Victor Sanchez Belmar. He's the CEO of Mashmi, who is supporting of this. You have known him. He will also intervene later. So let's go back to Ljubljana. Dusan, Tomasz, Borka, the floor is yours. You have to push.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, video is now alive, huh? I hope so. Okay, thank you. We are very glad to be here. We are really happy to participate in this event. It has brought us many memories back from more than 20 years, 22 years ago. Behind me, you can see a poster we made at that time. It's a poster for NICE Global, a symmetric TV experiment all over the world, a lot of work, a lot of issues or challenges to be solved. One of the anecdotes I can share with you, the connectivity was issue at that time, and Telekom Slovenia for this purpose has actually laid 30 kilometers of optical cables over the trees and whatever, so that we could connect to and participate in the events. I would like to say that our collaboration has resulted in many projects after that, in many diverse diverse ways of collaboration. And Isabel was the root of all this happening. So I would just like to say we are glad to be here and we are glad to participate, and we will collaborate even further. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you. Bye-bye. Okay, let's try with Catherine again. Catherine, are you ready?
Okay, yes, I think we're ready. Sorry about that earlier. Yes, it's a great pleasure for us to participate in this Isabel event. As I started saying earlier, I came into the project a little bit later. In fact, I see that Encarna Pastor is with the group today. I was involved with her in another project in the 90s where we were doing somewhat similar things, trying to do this computer-supported collaborative learning with technology that I have to say was not as well developed as the Isabel tool was. But one of the things that we tried to do was foster computer-supported collaborative learning for reciprocal peer tutoring for the purpose of language learning. So I'm coming in not from the technical side, but really from the pedagogical side. And I have to say that the development of these kind of tools have really improved, from my point of view, the acquisition, at least of English language in France. Number one, alongside the internet, which makes it possible for our students to have access to English language media, and combining that with tools like Isabel, which makes it possible for them to talk to students all over the world, virtual mobility has become an alternative to traveling abroad if you really want to master a foreign language. And we've actually tracked this in our TOEIC scores. We've seen that whereas the students' scores are kind of stagnant in reading comprehension, they've really increased in listening comprehension, and it's thanks to tools like Isabel. It's been a great pleasure for me to be a part of this, and when I think of it over the 20 years, it's really finally paying off. And I think it's one of the difficulties we have in these EU-funded projects. We always try to write the report about all the great impact we had the year we end the project, but the impact just takes a much longer time to really see the fruit of all the development work that went into creating tools like Isabel.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, that is Jan Procasia also. Would you like to say something?
Yeah.
Yes, I was in the technical part of the project, and we were very pleased to be in part of the project in regards to technology, because we were early adopters of the multicast and IPv6 networks. So there was some content to fill in the bandwidth, and we were very happy to participate.
Very good. Thank you very much. Well, I forgot to say that you are in Telecom Sud Paris, in the Sud of Paris. Thank you very much. Well, let's go to the next side. Well, we have now in the program Mario Campolargo again. We are making you speak a lot, Mario, but if you are not, you have already intervened, but we would like to hear you again. You were supporting us so much that we like to hear you very much.
Okay, I hope that I'm live now, and your first messages and the first pictures remind me the old Race and Acts team. And you mentioned Steve Plageman, that came to my mind, but I think that I would like also to remember all of us of personalities like Roland Huber, that was leading the team, Franco Biggi, that I think that was also instrumental in these collaborative tools, and Spiros Konidaris, that is enjoying, I hope now, some holidays in Greece right now. And I think for the four of us that are here, I mean, Reynaldo, Dirk, Bernard, and myself, when we came to Race and Acts, to the Commission, this was like a school, actually a school of thought. You know, we were learning and we were pioneering like you were. And I think that a tool like Isabel could only be generated by a generation labeled as the Generation X, because that was really the generation that had no limits, that was able to dream horizons and implemented them, and had a strong entrepreneurial spirits. See in the 90s all the bubble of the internet and all the tools. What we enjoy today is daily in our new ways of working. We use collaborative tools in an easygoing way, But the important thing was that pioneers like all of you that are now around this this virtual forum, you know, dreamed about that. And I know and I understand all our attachment to Isabel. And I think that when I said to my wife that I would end up the day with so many old friends around Isabel, I don't know what she thought, but you know, I also was a bit depressed when Vasco intervened from Portugal to explain why actually you called it Isabel. You know, probably at the time I wasn't aware, because I could have suggested other acronyms of some Portuguese kings or queens that also gave new worlds to the known world. But obviously, as this was a partnership between Spain and Portugal, like always, Spain, you know, takes precedence, and Isabel was the name suggested and adopted. But I wanted to say that more important than Isabel or the tool, I think that because projects come and go, and other acronyms that at the time were exciting us, like IBC, integrated broadband communications, and the beginnings of ATM and optical networks and all of that. What was important, I think, and the legacy that you actually leave, all you, is new ways of communicating, new ways of creating, of co-creating new ideas. And what Isabel has done is a precursor of all the ways that we work now, so easygoing amongst all of us. Later on, when I was direct and responsible for one big area, we created a motto in one of our conferences that was, innovation happens where people meet. And this is really creating this huge power of meeting people, but not just all physically in one place, but distributed around the world. And I'm so glad to see people from UbuntuNet, Margaret and other colleagues. I'm so glad to see people from Clara, and we could add for sure, but other initiatives that have the global footprint, a link between people that is much more long-lasting that we can imagine. And some of the discoveries or the innovations that we are enjoying today, for sure, find their roots in projects like Isabel. So be proud of Isabel. Be proud of what we have done. I pretty well remember talking to Lagarde once, to Vasco Lagarde in Portugal, and saying, gosh, the video is difficult to control. He said, no, Mari, it's not the video that is difficult to control. The sound is difficult to control. And those are the things that all engineers can share with each other, but they keep in our memory. And so what you did with Isabel is that you create new ways of work, new patterns for us to collaborate. You brought people together. You brought the best minds around the world together, and by giving them the floor and the opportunity to discuss new horizons, you opened up their creativity, and all the projects that we did in Europe and elsewhere for sure enjoyed some of the support that Isabel, in the back of the mind of all of us, helped us to create. That is a global community, an ecosystem of innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mario. Well, let's go then to our next intervention. I mean, now two persons which will present from the Linkia LICO team, and also which now work for the Minerva schools at KJ, will present the first the startup Minerva schools, and then they will make a short presentation about Linkia LICO and what it is.
Thank you, Juan. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. My name is Javier Cerviño. Here we are, Álvaro Alonso, Pedro Rodríguez, and Joaquín Salvatierra as well. We worked together with many other people in Isabel, in both the core of Isabel, and in our case, we were also working on gateways to connect Isabel to the web. And more or less with the beginning of WebRTC, we decided to create a new project from scratch, but using all the knowledge, of course, to create a video conference tool. It was a video conference as a service platform based mainly on WebRTC, on this new technology. and we called it LightCode. LightCode is an open source WebRTC communication software or platform, and well, the result of the work that we did is a scalable backend that provides a front-end API based on JavaScript and lets the users, well, the developers, add video conference to any web application. Well, with this work and over the years, it has been used by many companies, as Juan already mentioned, like Noodles, Minerva, Bank of Santander, Telefónica, Dialpad, well, many different companies. Also Masmi, which as far as I know is using also LightCode also for this event. And well, it became a production-ready product from more or less the beginning. And well, we achieved some numbers that for us they were really meaningful. Like for instance, we are right now in some of the companies that are using it. We have more than 100,000 minutes of video conference every single day being served by LightCode. We have, as Juan commented as well, almost 2,000 stars in GitHub. There are more than 1 million downloads of the official Docker image that we provide for the community, and we know that there are others as well. And yeah, I think that's almost all. Well, today, Alvaro and Joaquin work. They keep working here at the UPM and in the research group, and Pedro and I are working in Minerva. So I will let Pedro talk to you a little bit about what Minerva is.
So yeah, since 2016, Javier and I have been working at Minerva. I'll tell you a little bit what it's about. Minerva aims to lead innovation in education by designing an education system that is based on 3 pillars, which is fully active learning pedagogy, scaffolded curriculum, and live learning environment based on seminars, which is called Forum. Minerva Schools at KGI is the flagship of this system, of this education system. It's a 4-year undergraduate program on liberal arts, and the first year the students they focused on the 4 cornerstones that are creative thinking, critical thinking, effective effective communications, and effective interaction. They are enrolled in this quest to absorb the world, and they live in 7 different cities throughout the 4 years that they are in Minerva. They live in different places, but they take classes through the same platform, which is small seminars, fully active, and they are based on Forum. Forum is the technology behind that, and it's what uses LightCode as the means to have real-time communications with video and audio. These seminars, they are fully active, and they engage the students with different activities like breakouts and polls. And they allow professors to guide the flow of the class and also to assess the results by studying the live recording that they have afterwards, but also the data about when people participated and how. Minerva is establishing alliances with other institutions around the world, and those institutions can benefit from these innovations in the education that they are using in their flagship. We are using in the flagship. Some of these universities are the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, or SRM Amravati in India, or the Oxford Teachers Academy. and that's all for it. About it.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you very much. Bueno, they were Javier Cerviño, Pedro Rodriguez, Joaquín Salvachua, and Álvaro Alonso. We are very proud of this project of MASMI TV and that also a Californian startup is using it. It's a very important one. And well, two of the old members of Isabel, Javi and Pedro, are teleworking for Minerva in Madrid with Californian salaries. So it's really a very good result for the Isabel team. Well, thank you very much. Let's go then to the next side. Now we will go to the Spanish sides and to Retiris. Alberto from Retiris. I don't see that you are connected. Well, are you there, Alberto? Well, something must have happened. He told me he would be there. He was in the test this morning. I don't know what's happening. We will go later if he's not there. I mean, here in such events, we must always follow that the show must go on. So let's go to the next. Then we will go now to the south of Spain, south east to Murcia, to the University of Murcia, where Antonio Gómez Carmeta, Juan Antonio and Pedro Ruiz, I see you there. The turn is yours, please. Go on.
Okay, Juan, thanks to all for the invitation. As you know here, as you mentioned here, you have the team, the team that we have been involved in many activities and many workshops organized by Isabel, and also, as you know perfectly, Pedro and Juan Antonio, that were also involved heavily on some of the development of the Isabel components, you say. No? I would just mention to Juan Antonio that we always remember the discussion about that all the problem was because of the sound component generated by Juan Antonio on the old version of Isabel in that sense. Anyway, I mean, I think it's quite a pleasure to be involved on this in this event, also to remind all the history around Isabel, and also I will say that for us, that we were here on the corner, in the southeast corner of Spain, also the usage of Isabel many years ago allow us to also create and increase our collaboration with other teams in Spain, with the UPB, with the people from Carlos III, from UPM, and also was a possibility for us to be engaged, I would say, on remote classrooms, on some doctoral courses that also were quite important. So I think that for us has been a very important reference, I would say, of the team. And also now that we are now on a position in the university, also has helped us, I would say, to be engaged on the research and academic activities on the area of telematics, that for us also was quite important. So I don't know if Pedro, Juan Antonio want to say something. Please.
Well, I just want to say that for me it's a pleasure to be here in an Isabel event. I started just when I was finishing my diploma as a collaborator, setting up all those Isabel events here in Murcia. Then I had the luck to work together with Juan there in Madrid. So for me, it's really a pleasure to see all these people. And thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
And now he's vice rector here of the University of Digital Transformation. So
Well, Juan, it's a pleasure for me to be able to see you again. It's been a very long time, but I remember all those time that we spent together developing the audio, the video, and all the components of Isabel. I'm very proud to be able to say that I was one of the members that developed this important application.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very happy also to see you. They were very strong contributors. They were here for some time, contributing very strongly here and in the startup we made with Isabel. So thank you very much. Well, let's go now to Valencia, to the university, the Technical University of Valencia, where Vicente Casares And is there, Vicente, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me, Juan, everyone?
Yes, very well.
Well, it's my pleasure, Juan.